Jaws. Ron Jaworski, ESPN NFL analyst. Great to have you back, Jaws. Where have you been?
Dan, I've been everywhere. It's always a pleasure getting on your show. Good to be with you.
All right, I need some help here.
Let's try.
Try to convince me not to fall in love with John Manziel.
That's a good way to put it. We probably had a disagreement over Johnny Manziel as I projected him to the National Football League. And that being said, I think Johnny Manziel was one of the greatest collegiate players in history. No question, an exciting, dynamic player, playmaker. However, when I studied him, I just didn't see the attributes that lead to consistent success in the National Football League. Now, my prism might be a little bit different, a little bit old school. Maybe I like the 6'5", 240-pound pocket passer with anticipation, accuracy, and velocity. Maybe that's the prism I look at quarterbacks and have a hard time believing that some of these young upstarts that can run around and make plays are the future of the NFL. That being said, when I plugged in the tape Tuesday of Johnny Manziel in his first preseason game with the Cleveland Browns against the Detroit Lions, I saw some energy. And Johnny Manziel brought energy to that Cleveland Browns football team. Did he leave plays on the field? Yes. It was his first game in the preseason in the National Football League. Man, I was just happy to get out of the huddle in time in my first game. So I'm going to give him some credit. I thought he played well. He brought energy. And I think he's clearly closed the gap to Brian Hoyer. And I think Brian Hoyer's feeling the pressure a little bit right now.
Can he play like he did at A&M?
No. You can't do that in the National Football League.
But I'm bringing him in to be that quarterback, aren't I?
He's not going to be that guy. Those guys don't last. RG3, as great as he was, and he was great his rookie year. Kyle Shanahan used him, as a collegiate-style quarterback. Those zone reads, the quarterback powers out of one back, play-action passing, get him on the edge. He was phenomenal. What happens? You get whacked, and you're not the same guy anymore. You put a quarterback in this league in harm's way, they want to knock you in the cheap seats.
I also look at preseason football with the defenses, and you can have a first team or a second team. You can have a mix and match in there. What could I really derive out of preseason that is going to be something tangible that will play out and that will be real in the postseason for these guys?
Yeah, very little. You can glean very little from watching teams offensively or defensively on special teams. I normally early in the preseason, except for Game 3, that's usually the preseason game where most of the starters will play. They'll actually put a game plan in to attack a defense. Right now, they're just running plays to look at individuals. So that's what I do. If I plug in, a tape or watch a game on TV, I'll watch individual players. Say I'm watching the Eagles last week. I want to take a look at Jordan Matthews, their young wide receiver out of Vanderbilt, and see how he's doing. Well, he struggled, by the way. But that's what I want to look at. I want to see how these young guys individually play and see if their skill set then projects to being a solid NFL player. Because right now, it's about individual play, not team play, for at least the next couple of weeks.
But, Jaws, why are we looking at quarterbacks now differently than we did 10, 15, 20 years ago as far as how they can contribute to a team right away?
That always kind of puzzled me because I'm a little bit old school in this as well. I always thought the best way to develop a quarterback was to sit behind a wily veteran. And I think that's what will probably happen with Teddy Bridgewater up in Minnesota. You got a Matt Castle. Hey, he's not a world beater, but he's a wily veteran quarterback that knows how to manage a game and play the game. Now you give Teddy Bridgewater the opportunity to learn how to play the position at the NFL level. Now, I thought he was pro-ready coming out of Louisville, but it's always best to sit and learn because the NFL is big boy football. It's complex. It's sophisticated. It's guys that have wives and kids, and they're fighting for their jobs. It's not just playing a game. It's their livelihood. So I've always believed in letting a quarterback sit for a little bit, but now when you pay these guys all this money, the owner sits up there and says, hey, I'm paying this guy $50 million. What's he doing, with a towel on the sideline and a clipboard? Get him in the game. So there's that added pressure of the financial responsibility to these young players.
He's Ron Jaworski, NFL analyst for the Mothership, scheduled to be on edition of SportsCenter, I guess, later today, including ESPN, the magazine, NFL preview show tonight, 7 Eastern. Tell me how Peyton Manning or Drew Brees, Tom Brady could play another 5 years.
be lucky at this point. At this point of their career, Dan, you start going downhill, and it usually happens quickly. You ascend, you plateau, and then you fall off the cliff. And I think that's what will happen. Although certainly, when you see Peyton, you see Drew Brees, you see Tom Brady, man, you look at these guys, they're in incredible physical condition, although Drew Brees right now fighting an oblique muscle injury, and those things are hard to come back from. And that's kind of what usually happens. Those little bumps and bruises that you get throughout the season, they become nagging injuries, and you can't get on the field as quick as you did when you were younger. So there's certainly some luck involved, but these guys can get by on tremendous experience, and that's how they play the game. And by the way, when I did my quarterback big board, Dan, as I studied all the quarterbacks in the offseason, the one thing that jumped out to me, I thought that the NFL is now coming back to the quarterback. And I say it this way, I'll make them field generals. I thought there was a period of time where the quarterbacks were puppets, where the coach would call the play, the coordinator, the head coach, say, hey, run this play, don't audible, don't check, run this damn play I'm calling because I'm smarter than you, I'm the offensive coordinator. Well, I'm seeing now the guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, these guys orchestrating offense at the line of scrimmage. They're incredible preparation. They are now field generals. The quarterback position is now coming back to the quarterback with play calling and running optimum plays against the defense. That was exciting to me.
And you're also seeing these quarterbacks that they're used to the formations, 5 wide. They've been doing this since high school. But the one thing that quarterbacks demand is that you're able to process information quickly. And it seems like certainly with Chip Kelly, you get to the line of scrimmage, I don't need a Michael Vick there. I need somebody who can be thinking when I think in real time. How important is that when you look at success around the league, that something simple like that, well, not simple, but it's small, it's just being able to process something, almost having a photographic memory of looking at a defense, changing your play, and letting everybody know what's going on.
Dan, I absolutely, totally agree with you 100%. And that's one of the great Bill Walsh lines of all time. The quarterback must process information quickly. That's what the position is all about, that cerebral part of the game. Seeing the field, great vision, great anticipation, and making it happen in about 1.5 seconds on a 3-step drop and 2.1 seconds on a 5-step drop and 3.1 seconds on a 7-step drop. All these things happen very quickly. The quarterbacks that process information quickly are the ones that have long-term success. And Peyton Manning and Tom Moore gave me this term a couple of years back. Instant recall and application. You study all week long. You prepare. All of a sudden, you break that huddle, and you see a defense that you saw on tape on Tuesday, and you know they're trying to rent space in your mind, play a game with you, but you know what that defense is going to be. That's instant recall. Now the application. Get yourself to a play that can beat that defense. That's what it's all about. Instant recall and application and process information quickly.
You're friends with Bon Jovi. I think you were in business with Bon Jovi, weren't you?
That's correct. We were business partners in the ownership of the Philadelphia Soul that won the Arena Football League championship in 2008, I might add.
Okay. His chances of getting the Buffalo Bills.
Hey, I'm pulling for Bon Jovi. John has an incredible passion for the game. He loves football. He will be a great owner because he wants to win. He'll do everything that it takes to be successful. I for some reason, I don't know why John is kind of the guy that's being painted as a dark horse there because he aligned himself with some business people from Toronto. But I've spoken to John. He has no intention of moving that team out of Buffalo. He thinks that's a great market, a great area. And he would go there and build that football team. It's an ascending football team right now. John will show the total commitment to bringing a winner to Buffalo. I think John is a very viable candidate.
Well, if he doesn't get that, maybe he could join the China American Football League. You're a part of that with Dick Vermeil. What is going on in China?
We're bringing football to China, Dan. American football is coming to China. I mean, this is really an unprecedented move to bring our great game, viewed by 330 million people in this country, to China, where there's 1.4 billion people. I was actually in Beijing about 2 years ago, meeting with the Secretary General. We met for 7 hours in Tiananmen Square, trying to convince him that it would be good to have football in China. After 7 hours, the Secretary reached over, shook my hand, and said, we want to bring American football to China. It's taken 2 years to get through the legalities, the paperwork, the red tape, and finally this week we got confirmation from the Chinese government that we can bring American football to China. It's very exciting. Now, next year we're going to play a 6 to 8 team schedule in different cities in China. We played an exhibition game there last November. Almost 10,000 people showed up and 6 million people watched. So they do love American sports, and they have an insatiable appetite for our Western lifestyle.
Do they know who Johnny Manziel is, though, Johns? That's the important question.
No, they don't even know who Ron Jaworski, Bon Jovi, Peyton Manning, or anyone else. We got a lot of teaching to do.
Charles, good to have you back. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Dan. You're the best, man. Love talking to you.
Ron Jaworski.